Welcome all of you to our next class. We are in second module, and the second module we are seeing different methods used for hacking. And as a first step of this hacking, we saw what is footprinting, and later now we are in the second step. That means scanning various ports, which may be closed, which may be open, or they may be filtered in the host connected in a network. And in that port scanning we saw one a specialized tool, namely Nmap, which gives a complete picture of the ports and systems alive in the network. And similar to that, we are going to see two more tools. Next one is OpenVAS. Similar to Nmap, this one is also used for port scanning, and similarly it does vulnerability scanning operation too. So it's a framework of several services and tools offering a comprehensive and powerful vulnerability scanning and vulnerability management solution. It does perform normal port scanning, and vulnerabilities will be found out. And apart from that, in addition to that, it's not only a scanning tool. It offers many other services also. That means it's something like a package. It's not a simple tool alone. It has many other features also. Something like we compile our program in terminal, and the same program is compiled in NetBeans or Eclipse. Eclipse and NetBeans, as you know, they are sophisticated tools used for programming purposes. As terminal is having minimum number of features, these NetBeans and Eclipse, they have numerous benefits and features. As you did your mini project in Java and you used NetBeans, you can understand, you can compare the differences between the programs that have been coded in NetBeans and the programs you have done using terminal. So IDEs are feature rich. Similar to that, here OpenVAS also, it's open rich tool. And now this framework is part of Greenbond Network's commercial vulnerability management solution, from which developments are contributed to open source community. So the mother company is Greenbond Networks, and now they are moving to open source version. Since 2009 they have been in open source community, so they have all the benefits of an open source software. As we know, many much amount of support will be available for such open source software. So all those benefits are enjoyed by this software OpenVAS. Now it's a free software also, and most components are licensed under GNU General Public License. Now when moving to its architecture, you can see various tools arranged in this OpenVAS. It does include a basic vulnerability scanning tool, and in addition to that we can see many other services and tools also. Now, as you can see in this architecture, this targets, that means computers or the various hosts in a network, will be the scan targets. They will be scanned using an OpenVAS scanner. So the main scanner used in OpenVAS is OpenVAS scanner. Now this scanner is managed by OpenVAS manager. This OpenVS manager can be considered as the master brain of this software, and it does control everything. It does control scanning activity, it does control various inputs, various output, and even storage also. So every control reaches OpenVS manager, and above this scanner and manager level you can see OpenVS CLI and the Greenbond security assistant. We know that it's a mother company of OpenVS, Greenbond security assistant. As part of that, they have developed a open source and free version, namely OpenVS. Now OpenVS provides OpenVS CLI also, that means command line interface. It does provide the user or the hacker or an ethical hacker an interface for typing in the commands used for scanning and other management purposes. Now it is also controlled by the OpenVS manager. And now manager, that tool controls the results and configuration storage also. So all the scanned results will be stored efficiently in a particular data storage, and various configuration files also we can see in storage. So management of all these goes through the OpenVS manager. So that is the main component in our OpenVS tool. Now this Open Vulnerability Assessment System, that is the full form of OpenVAS, Open Vulnerability Assessment System. It's a framework of several services and tools, as we can see here. It's SSL secured service oriented architecture that we have seen just here. Now we are moving to OpenVS manager. This as we have seen now, OpenVS manager is a central tool that consolidates plain vulnerability scanning into a full vulnerability management solution. So it does contain basic scanning tools, and apart from that, in addition to that, it has many other rich feature set also. Now the manager controls the scanner via OTP. We are familiar with one OTP, that means one time password. That is not the case here. It is OpenVAS transfer protocol. Okay, so the main transfer protocol used by the OpenVAS is OTP, that means OpenVAS transfer protocol, and itself offers an XML based stateless OpenVAS management protocol. So that is another one. It is working based on the basis of OMP, that means OpenVAS management protocol. It's an XML based and stateless tool. Now an intelligence is implemented in the manager, so that it is possible to implement various lean plans that will behave consistently. That means it controls it has the control of the overall scanning and other procedure also. So it does make the report of various scannings, and it does store it in appropriate data storage also, where configuration files are also stored. Now the database used is SQL, that means SQLite. That is the most popular database used along with Android also. Now where all configuration and scan data results are centrally stored. Okay. Now the manager also handles user management, including access control with the groups and roles. So many features. It's a feature rich tool. It has many features for a hacker or an ethical hacker to manage various clients also, by making them as part of groups, and they can assign certain roles to certain hosts also. So it's a feature rich product. Now a CLI command line interface is also available with that. Traditional hacker or ethical hackers can make use of this tool as well. Its name is OMP, that OpenVAS CLI tool is named OMP, which allows to create batch process to drive OpenVAS manager. When you studied operating system subject, you might have come across this term batch processing. That means we can arrange jobs one after the another, and we may input that batch into the here in OpenVA CLI, and hacker or ethical hacker can do other jobs while this OpenVA CLI is processing these batches. Now that's all about our OpenVAS. Now we move on to next famous tool, that means Nessus. It's also an open source network vulnerability scanner, and it is used for finding out common vulnerabilities, and it exposes architecture for easy cross-linking between compliance security tools. So this can be used along with other tools also. It does cooperate with other security related tools also. So that's a unique advantage of Nessus. It can work in cooperation with other security tools as well. Now this Nessus employs the Nessus attacking scripting language. That is another important peculiarity about Nessus. A hacker or a programmer or a user or a administrator can make use of a scripting language which is known as NASL, Nessus Attack Scripting Language, using which hacker can or ethical hacker can code many instructions. So on the basis of which this Nessus will work and will find out the vulnerabilities. So it's a symbol language, describes the individual threats and potential attacks. So an ethical hacker can make use of this tool to code various threats. Threats may be having small differences. So the administrator can make same small changes in his NASL to make another threats. And potential attacks also described using this NASL. So that is the uniqueness with Nessus. Now Nessus has a modular architecture consisting of centralized server that conducting scanning and remote clients that allow for administrator interaction. So it does follow a client server architecture. That means centralized server will be maintained for doing all these scanning activities, and an administrator need not have to be physically present near to the centralized server in order to do the action. He can remotely control the server from anywhere. So that is another advantage of Nessus. And administrator can include NASL descriptions, as we said earlier. Administrator can make use of this simple language NASL to define various threats and attacks. Now certain important capabilities of Nessus. Capability with computers and servers of all sizes. As we said earlier, it can cross compile or cross cooperate with many other security tools as well. Now detection of security holes in local or remote hosts, that we know. Detection of missing security updates and patches, that is very important. Updates are really important as far as any software is concerned. Why? Because the loopholes or the vulnerabilities in the previous version will be updated using various updates and patches. So next one, simulated attacks to pinpoint vulnerabilities, execution of security tests in a contained environment, and scheduled security audits. So all these are features of Nessus. It's currently available for Unix, Linux, and FreeBSD also. You might have heard about BSD. It's a security oriented operating system, especially used for small hardware devices. It can be used for computers also, but it is used by these kinds of security professionals. Normal users does not make use of BSDs. So FreeBSD is an open source version of BSD. Now the clients can either be Unix or Windows based operating system. So it can work with any kind of platforms. Now next one is Unicorn Scan. This is the last scanning tool we are seeing in this for scanning tools. Now it was developed to assist security testers in conducting tests on large network and to consolidate many of the tools needed for large scale endeavors. The main problem that is found out in current scenario is tools are very slow when scanning thousands of IP addresses. In order to solve that problem, Unicorn Scan, a new tool, has been introduced which can perform better than many other tools now in the market. So it is used by the security testers. They does conduct the test on large networks and consolidate many of the tools needed for this large scale endeavors. Now, security tools, this Unicorn developers create a product to meet all the needs of security testers. So Unicorn Scan will be an apt choice. It is the best choice as far as the security tester is concerned. Now its features include asynchronous stateless TCP banner grabbing. Second one, asynchronous protocol specific UDP scanning, active and passive remote OS, application and component identification by analyzing responses, PCAP file logging and filtering, relational database output, custom module support, customized dataset views. These are main features of our Unicorn Scan. So it is used for getting faster results as far as scanning IP addresses is concerned. Now we are going to move another technique. This cannot be considered as a tool. This is a technique. Ping sweep, as the name suggests, ping. You might have used this command ping before for getting the status of a computer with the help of an IP address. So its syntax, as you know, it's a ping space then the IP address. So if that IP address of the system having that IP address is okay, it's working properly, then we will get a positive result. Otherwise, we will get the request timed out. So that is a ping. So ping sweep, that means we are not doing a single ping at a time. We are doing multiple pings at the same time. That means multiple IP addresses are scanned at the same time with the help of ping sweep techniques. Now the port scanners can also be used to conduct a ping sweep of a large network to identify which IP address belongs to active host. There are many disadvantages for this tool also. We will see all of them in the coming sessions. So pinging is not so effective, but even then we can make use of this ping in order to find out the active host in a network. Now the problem with relying on ping sweeps to identify live hosts is that a computer might be shut down at the time of sweep. That means when we are pinging, one system may be in shutdown state, so we will get a negative result. That means the system is not live. But in the very next moment itself, that host may come to an on stage. At that time, it will make use of that IP address. But as we have done that ping sweep before, the computer was on, we will get a negative result, and we think that that IP address is not used by any system, any live system. That's a problem with the ping sweep. And another problem with the ping sweep is that many network administrators configure nodes to not respond to an ICMP echo request with an ICMP echo reply. So this is a usual request sent by an ping command ICMP echo request. For that we will get ICMP echo reply if the system is active. And so administrators can configure the system in such a way that system does not respond to such ICMP echo request. In that case also, we will be fooled if we use ping sweep. Why? Because even a active system with a administrator configured it not to respond to ICMP echo request, we will get a negative result. That means we will think that It's not an active IP, but because of this administrator's trick, um, we are getting a negative result. So in that way also, this ping sweep is not a good tool, not a good mechanism. And another problem is that firewall filtering out ICMP packets. So if a firewall is installed in place, then that firewall may be blocking the ICMP traffic. So that time also we will not get a positive response. In that way, again, this is a failure. Ping sweep is a failure technique. Now, certain tools used for this ping sweep are fping and hping. This fping tool can be used for pinging multiple IP addresses simultaneously. It include fping included on a backtrack DVD can accept a range of IP addresses entered at a command prompt. So IP addresses need not be entered one after the other. We can specify a range also. Automatically it will be pinged by taking IP addresses in a sequential order. Or we can alternatively we can create a file also containing multiple IP addresses. So whenever we get time, we can fill up the file containing multiple IP addresses. Then we can input this file into fping tool. So the syntax of such a fping tool is fping, then space minus f hyphen that text file containing multiple IP addresses. That's all is needed to scan all the IP addresses mentioned in this file. So that's an effective ping sweeping tool, that is fping. Now next one is hping. Hping is a tool used for crafting TCP and UDP packets to be used in port scanning activities. As we know, these ports are scanned with the help of crafted TCP or UDP packets. We will set certain flags high or low depending upon the type of the scan. In SYN scan or in XMA scan, in other many other scans we have seen. In all these scans, we are setting certain flags and resetting certain other flags. So in order to craft such TCP and UDP packets, we can make use of this hping. So it's an effective tool used for crafting TCP and UDP packets, and it can perform ping sweep operation also. Many security testers use it to bypass filtering devices by injecting crafted or otherwise modified IP packets. So main use of hping is for crafting TCP and UDP packets. This tool offers a wealth of features, and security testers should spend as much time as possible learning this advanced port scanning tool. So it is used for port scanning by making a crafted TCP or UDP packet, and can be used for ping sweeps operation also. So it's an effective tool, hping. Now crafting IP packets, that means as we have seen just now, hping, many other tools are also available for crafting TCP and UDP packets. In crafting, we are making certain flags set and certain flags reset. By doing so, we will get a modified packet which can be used for scanning ports. So when we are not satisfied with the response we get from the host computer after sending an SYN packet, we can create another packet with the FIN flag set, finish flag set, or we can use a combination of many other flags as well. Now hping and fping, and both are used for crafting IP packets. So that thus we come to the end of second module. So in the second module we saw various methods used for hacking purposes. It starts with footprinting, and as a second step we saw what is port scanning, and third step is not to be mentioned much, that means enumeration. That means All the information collected using these two will be listed out in order to find out the most efficient way to unleash the attack. So that's the third one, enumeration. That is nothing much to mention about it. So now we finished our second module, and in the next class we will start our third module. Okay, thank you.